What's up, guys? Welcome to another week recap. This is just for my video peeps. I did a whole podcast on just for my audio, so make sure to download my audio too sometimes, because sometimes I do different things on my audio compared to what I do on video. But this is for my video peeps. Let's get some music going. What was that? Hi, welcome. What is this mix called? Corporate motivational music for you. Welcome to the corporate motivational track where we get down with corporate talk. Are you having team problems? Hope you guys are having a fantastic week. What a weird start of the week. I got a cold. Don't judge me. Yeah, I got like a cold. I immediately woke up in the middle of the night, had a sore throat, and I immediately thought, oh crap, I have coronavirus. I'm going to die. I wrote up my will, and my wife was like, you don't have anything. And it was just awkward to find out how poor you really are. Speaking of poor, AOC gave out a little sweatshirt for $58, says, tax the rich. I'm too poor to even buy that to, diss the rich. What up with that? What up with that? What up with that? Oh. Okay, let's get some epic cinematic music. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Sorry, this is, we're figuring out what to do with the videos. This is a weird week. This is a weird week, exhausting week. We saw all kinds of things. I saw a bank robbery that happened, and the guy got away with it. Okay, this is freaking me out. Let's turn that off. We saw a bank robbery happen, and multiple bank robberies across state lines, and he's gotten away with it. How cool is that? It's like a dream of mine to rob a bank, stick it to the man, take a bunch of money, and roll out. I mean, I think this guy has done like 10 or 15 robberies. Stop while you're ahead. Hello. And maybe, go down to Mexico. I think with all these wearing masks all the time, it's going to help people out a lot. Let's dive into what happened during the week. Let's go over some of my Twitter profiles. Joe Biden had a little town hall thing last night. Let's do some reaction videos, because that's what we're all about here. Speaking of Fauci, have you spoken with him yet? If so, have you asked him to stay on?
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes. Tell me about the conversation. As he said, what more needs to be done from his
point of view?
Well,
look,
come on, man.
My chief of staff has worked with him in the last crisis.
Many people didn't watch this.
Talking to him all the time, Ron Klain. I talked to him today. We spoke today at 3 o'clock. My COVID team met with him. I asked him to stay on in the exact same role he's had for the past several presidents. And I asked him to be a chief medical advisor for me as well and be part of the COVID team. And so what has to be done is... So Biden got a nice little COVID question last night. This is going to be what we're going to see throughout what's going on with media and news media as I dive in deep every single morning to give you guys the news every single day. The news media is just going to give him softball questions for the rest of his life until he eventually, I don't know, he's old, and let's just be real about life stuff. But there's just going to be softball questions forever. And this was a softball question. Are you gonna keep Dr. Fauci? That was the hard-hitting, journalistic, nose-diving question coming out of the fair and balanced Jake Tapper. Yeah, right. So he's going to keep Fauci. That's a no-brainer for his side of the aisle because liberals love Dr. Fauci. They think that he is a godlike figure in the science realm of life. Like, Dr. Fauci is the only one with the key to all of that science, and that he can only unlock it for us. We mere mortals will never be able to figure out or read a journal article or understand science like percentages and understanding numbers. These things are too hard for us normal citizens to figure out, but we need Dr. Fauci to figure out. So he's going to keep Dr. Fauci on. We have to make it clear.
That's a no-brainer for him. That's a win in the liberal department. They love him.
That is determined. And number two, you have to make sure, as he points out, you don't have to close down the economy like a lot of folks are talking about.
So you don't have to close down the economy? Well, why don't you talk to Newsom and Garcetti about that, because they're locking down LA and California as we speak, depending on the number of people in the ICU beds.
Now, if in fact you have clear guidance and you're able to say to businesses, okay, for example, bars and restaurants are going to close, but we're going to provide you the wherewithal to not lose your business, like the house.
So printing money is the way to keep the economy going, according to Joe Biden. I don't know if people know this, but the government doesn't make money. They take your money.
It passed, and we're going to be able to reopen. We're going to be able to reopen in time and not to close down for long periods of time. We talked about masking.
So we are going to lock down and we are going to close down. See, I'm going to give you the real journalistic integrity.
It is important that we, in fact, the president and the vice president,
if Joe Biden says something that is out of the ordinary or should be duly noted, I will tell you. Just like I would do with Trump. I am not a forever total MAGA Trumper that thinks that he can do no good, like nothing wrong. I call out Trump the times I feel like he's wrong. I have no problem with that. Any logical person with a brain should have no problem with that. But there's like a weird thing in politics where we pick sides and feel like, oh, I can only say good things about this one person, because if we say something negative, it's going to create a negative vibe and people are going to think he's not as great as that person is. Turns out everyone is a human and everyone has flaws.
But beyond that, where the federal government has authority, I'm going to issue a standing order that in federal buildings you have to be masked, and in transportation, interstate transportation, you must be masked. And
people are already masked in these places. These aren't new ideas.
Airplanes and buses, etc. And so it's a matter of, and I think my inclination, Jake, is on the first day I'm inaugurated to say I'm going to ask the public for 100 days to mask.
I've said this 1,000 times. I've moved to a red state from a blue state, and people are masked everywhere. I went out for a run outside by myself. I don't wear a mask because I see literally no scientific evidence that I should wear a mask when I'm completely by myself in nature running alone. But there are people that I've ran across that were on the opposite, that will move to the opposite side of the street, that are wearing a mask. People are masked everywhere. Do masks work? Yes. The N95 mask, used once or cleaned properly. Do the masks work? The cloth masks that we're all wearing? There is no evidence. There is not one journalistic, scientific evidence proving that they do work, but we are wearing them. Anyways, COVID cases are spiking in places like California. Are Californians all wearing masks? I would probably say yes. And yet no one's talking about it. So maybe the whole mask thing.
Just 100 days to mask. Not forever, 100 days.
14 days to slow the spread.
And I think we'll see a significant reduction if we occur that, if that occurs.
And I would have stopped him right there and said, are you doing okay, Joe? Do you need some water?
With vaccinations and masking to drive down the numbers considerably.
And again, are we driving down the numbers now? I think everyone is wearing masks. This idea that there's these crowds of people, or what the media try to say are conservatives running around not wearing masks, I don't see it. I know a lot of conservatives, and none of them are losing their minds about wearing a mask in a Costco. There's a couple people, but that is few and far between. The idea that there's millions of people and everyone's having these huge gatherings is insanity. All right, let's go on to the next video. Joe Biden asks Dr. Fauci. Oh, okay. Can we just watch this?
And it matters what a president and a vice president do. And so I think that my three predecessors have set the model as to what should be done, saying once it's declared to be safe, wine. And then I think Barack said once Fauci says it's clear, that's
what when Daddy Barack says it's okay, I'll say it's okay.
My measure. Then obviously we take it. And it's important to communicate to the American people it's safe. It's safe to do this.
Speaking of Fauci,
Trump has said it's safe for many different things, like going back to schools for kids because there's no scientific evidence saying the things about children and people are losing their minds. But when Joe Biden says something very similar, nobody cares. And when I say nobody, I mean the news media.
Spoken with him yet? If so, have you asked him to stay on?
Okay, we already found that out. He's staying on, blah, blah, blah. But there was more. Oh, okay. Let's go to the Daily Caller. They had more about this whole shenanigans with Biden. You know, let's not even get into Biden anymore. Did you guys see that whole thing about Biden and how he is he said that if him and Kamala have a disagreement, he is going to either say he has a disease and resign. That's what he did with Obama. I can't tell if that's his way of saying he's going to just let Kamala do whatever he wants, or he's actually going to resign from being president. Either way, the media are so up his you-know-what that they literally do not care what he says. They will interpret him for him. They won't let him speak for himself. It's crazy to me how people just accept this as okay in truth. I have logical, deep-thinking friends who are liberals who love CNN, and they will literally listen to something like that, and they'll go, he doesn't mean that. What? like, I don't know. Senate, the House of Representatives just passed a bill that would legalize marijuana, decriminalize marijuana. A bunch of marijuana people are very pumped about that. I don't see it should be. I don't know where I fall on the drugs, but I think marijuana, it's less lethal than alcohol. I'll just put it that way. Follow the science. Jake Tapper says interviewing Joe Biden was substantially more enjoyable than Trump. I wonder why. Because you give him softball questions and you don't go there to fight with him. It would be like me. I am a Manchester United fan. I love soccer. I would never go to a Liverpool bar and hang out with a bunch of Liverpool people because I know they're going to try to fight me or make fun of me, and I would go up ready to duke it. Matthew McConaughey rips far left for being condescending and patronizing and arrogant. Yes. There's one side who is screaming words like, just follow the science. But when you have other science, when you bring other science to what they're saying is science, they say that is not science. Did you guys see the high school footballer just nail that old ref? I think that says a lot about our culture and how our children view authority figures. But don't take my word for it. Oh, this is insane to me.
If you are on the precipice of getting a coronavirus D, and you can't, if you are on the precipice, on before that. Okay. But what shifted?
This is crazy.
When the Problem Solvers Caucus had a much larger bill a few months ago, you did not like that piece of legislation. What has shifted now when they're on board with this piece that's come out of the Senate?
Perhaps you missed what I said earlier. Joe Biden committed to ending and crushing the virus and having a Build a Better America.
America. Okay. Joe Biden committed to crushing the virus. Did Donald Trump not do that? People that actually believe that Donald Trump did nothing, you need to change your channel. Let's go back to this insanity.
And you can't.
Oops.
Your opinion when the Problem Solvers Caucus has come out of the Senate.
Perhaps you missed what I said earlier. Joe Biden committed to ending and crushing the virus and having a Build a Better America initiative, Build Back Better.
Build Back Better.
A vaccine. Answer to our prayers. An answer to our prayers of 95% effect.
There should be an age limit to people that can serve in the Senate, Congress, and leadership in our government. These people are in charge of way too much.
In terms of Pfizer and Moderna, and there may be others coming forward. That is a total game changer.
Game changer.
A new president and a vaccine.
Time out. A new president and a vaccine.
So there's nothing to, these are different. What was then before was not more of this. This has simplicity. It's what we've had in our bills. It's for a shorter period of time, but that's okay now because we have a...
Is any of this making sense to you? Because if it's not, welcome to the team.
New president, a president who recognizes that we need to depend on science to stop the virus.
He asked her a question about her signing a new COVID stimulus bill and actually coming to the table now, even though the amount now is far substantially less than last time. And her answer is, we have a new president and a vaccine. Does that make any sense to you? That would be the opposite of a reason to have a stimulus bill, wouldn't you think?
President who...
But her idea is that if Joe Biden is the president and she signs a bill under Joe Biden's leadership and the people get paid under Joe Biden, it'll make them look good.
Understand.
This is all about politics. Those who say otherwise have
that America's working families
problems.
Need to have money in their pockets in a way.
Nancy, we needed money in our pockets months ago, but you chose not to because you saw an election, a presidential one, more important than helping people out.
That takes them into the future without any of the contraptions of any of the other bills that the administration was associating itself with them before. We feel
that is literally the most insane thing I've ever heard in my entire life, and people aren't making a big deal about it. This is one of my favorite videos of the day, and I'm going to play it in its entirety because I love this guy.
I just
Ready?
Rick, you
can't tell me that shutting down, which is the easiest answer, is necessarily the only answer.
Rick, just as a public health and public service announcement.
Stop right there. He's shutting him off because he says something that he disagrees with. And he's going to educate Rick, the older guy who's been on the show far longer, probably has more experience and probably has more knowledge than him. He is going to let him know that he's actually wrong.
For the audience.
A public health announcement. This guy on the left knows more about health than the guy on the right.
The difference between a big box retailer...
He doesn't even know who's responding to him because he's about to unleash a demon.
Who is this?
Hold on. The difference between...
He won't even tell him who he is.
It's Andrew.
Who else?
It's Andrew. Who else? What do you think?
The difference between a big box retailer... Hold on. The difference between a big box...
He was making a plea, an argument, saying we shouldn't shut down because big box retailers are just getting bigger and stronger and the small companies are failing. This is a fact. But you're not allowed to say that.
Box retailer and a restaurant, or frankly, even a church, are so different, it's unbelievable. Going into a big box retailer,
I disagree.
You're wearing
You can have your thoughts.
Okay. And I completely, obviously, agree more with this guy that going to a big box retail, standing in line, I've stood in lines to go into Marshall's. Yes, I don't have a lot of money. I shop there. Okay, don't judge me. Okay, I don't shop at Saks Fifth Avenue. Okay, I don't have baby Trump ties. Okay, but I've stood in line to walk into a Marshall's, not socially distanced. I'd probably say, ma'am, 2 feet in front of each other. To walk into a crowded Marshall's because the number was too much. But not only did I stand in line, but then I went into a Marshall's and we were walking all around each other. I've done the same for Costco. I've done the same for grocery stores. And there's no logic to that being okay. And sitting in a restaurant really far at half capacity, there's no logic to this. Continue.
Your thoughts and
You're required to wear a mask.
I disagree.
It's science. I'm sorry.
Oh.
It's science. If you're wearing a mask...
There it is. It's science. There's the Trump card. There's the card that you can just say and people will just have to bow down to you no matter what. That is the most obnoxious thing in the whole world. It's not just science. People with a brain can understand that there is different views on scientific facts and scientific findings. Not all scientists, just think the same way. Could you imagine if every scientist just believed all the same things? How stupid we would be as a society. No one ever questioned a scientific fact or evidence. Let's continue.
It's a different story. 500 people in a
Good for you, standing up for yourself.
Than 150 people in a restaurant that holds 600.
Preach.
I don't believe it.
Preach.
Sorry.
Preach.
Don't believe it. And I live in an area where there's a lot of restaurants that have fought back and they don't have.
All right. He's proposing a fantastic argument. This guy right here cannot handle somebody with a different opinion other than what science or what Dr. Fauci says, and he's just going to shut him off because he says, you're just an idiot, you're bigoted, you're closed-minded, etc. You are a part of the problem, essentially.
Don't have any problems. And they're open.
Okay, you don't have to believe it, but let me just say this. You're doing a disservice to the viewer.
You're doing a disservice for the viewer by providing a different argument. You should all be aligned the same. That's like the idea of fascism, isn't it? Just everyone all thinking the same thing, believing the same thing, and if you don't, you will be told to shut up. Or like in North Korea, you will just be shot. A guy or a woman, I don't know, we don't know, was shot in North Korea for disobeying COVID rules. Killed.
Because the viewers need to understand it.
You are doing a disservice to the viewer. You are.
Fantastic.
You are.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I would like to keep our viewers as healthy as humanly possible.
Right. So this idea of keeping people healthy, is having a job keep you healthy? What about mental health? What about that kid that just committed suicide, that 11-year-old in California? Is being locked in a house your whole life keeping you healthy? Not being able to eat because you don't have any funds to bring in, keeping you healthy? How about just living a life? People like this guy, right here, gets paid more than I'll ever make in my entire life. He's okay with the lockdowns. He doesn't care about you and me or people with that need real jobs that aren't essential. He doesn't care about you. He wants everyone to be safe. But so those of us that don't have essential jobs feel unsafe because we feel like we can't provide for our families or help out in any capacity. If you're making $200K a year, $500K a year, talking on a TV, no matter what happens, you're deemed essential, or you're a politician making a ton of money with tons of power, you don't care about the lockdowns. It doesn't affect you. Imagine if this guy, let's just cut all the television cables and see what happens. This guy is feeling affected.
The idea of packing people into restaurants.
I think our viewers are smart enough to make part of those decisions on their own.
And that's it right there. You're able to make the decision on your own. You're smart enough to make the decision on your own. You're not an idiot.
I don't think that I'm much smarter than all the viewers like some people do.
You just said, I don't think I'm much smarter than the viewers like other people do. That guy obviously thinks he's a genius. Oh, what else is going on? Somebody got a tiger at Carol Baskin's zoo almost bit off an arm of elderly volunteer during a routine feeding. Oh my God, that poor person. What else is let's go into CNN's feed. Let's see what's going on. House of Representatives passed a bipartisan bill that would ban private ownership of big cats and tigers, a widely popular See, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't really care. I think it's hilarious, but I also want animals not to be locked up in cages. You can call me an animal freak. I could care less. Let's see. So CNN's heavily reporting about COVID. State Department officials who work with Secretary of State Mark Pompeo meeting with Joe Biden. They're really pushing Joe Biden right now, even though it hasn't been ratified. Moon rocks. President in the waiting. Well, what is this? What it's like to have the second most powerful job in the world. All 6 living vice presidents sitting together. Yeah, right. All right. Let's go to the next one. See what Fox News is talking about. I know some of you guys hate Fox News. Look at that. Notifications. I'm freaking huge. Passes decriminalizing federal. Does that mean it's? I think it has to go to the Senate, doesn't it? Georgia ratifies Facebook hate speech. Facebook to treat hate speech against whites, men, and Americans as low priority. Yeah, duh. You know, because everything, racist things always comes in bounds. It's whoever's doing racist things, even against white people or men, or sexist, they just scream justification, and therefore it makes it okay. It's the same thing, back in the day. This is justified. This is how it is. This is your turn. I want some more videos, man. I like the reacting towards videos stuff. Safer at home. Oh, Mayor Garcetti. It's time to cancel everything. At this point, if you're in California, why? I mean, I don't understand the point. Unless you have like a fantastic job. Did you guys see this plane land? Let's see. Let's watch this. Look how cool this is. This guy just landed a plane on a highway. Could you imagine just going for a drive and then all of a sudden a plane just lands right in front of your face? Maybe you're coming home from a nice night. You're having a nice romantic talk with your wife or your husband, and all of a sudden, boom, a plane right in front of your face. Anyways, what a week. It's kind of fun to do these. The media is going to miss this man. People are going to miss him so much. Anyways, what a week, guys. What a fantastic week. Try to enjoy yourself this week. I just want you to know, I just want to thank you guys for listening to this still, walking with me through these times. And let's just see what's going on in Explorer. Let's see what's trending. Shanti. Free Code Friday. Nothing cool. I just want to thank you guys for listening and being a part of the community. Make sure to comment below what your thoughts of this stupid video is. And enjoy the week. Enjoy the rest of the week. Plan to do more of these kind of things. And give my podcast a listen to. Go download it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. However you listen to podcasts, download it. It's on there. The 1 Minute News. I appreciate you guys. Have a fantastic day. As always, I'll see you as soon as possible for another edition of the 1 Minute News.